Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome to a new series here on HNE called Annotated. So with Annotated, we'll explore the how, why, and explain behind some of the most popular, current, and upcoming film and television franchises. So with this installment of Annotated, we'll be focusing on Marvel, both the Marvel Cinematic Universe and also other aspects of Marvel, like Marvel TV, Sony's Marvel Universe as well, and talking about all those things. And a lot of it might be speculative at times, but the most important part is that we're kind of going into things, exploring concepts, and hopefully exploring new things together. But definitely let us know any ideas for future episodes for Marvel Annotated you'd like to see us do. And with all that said and done, let's get into it. With multiple reports hinting towards a Dark Reign storyline adaptation within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, excitement builds towards the casting for key characters such as Norman Osborn and members of his Dark Avengers. So far, the expectation is that the Dark Avengers will be a pseudo Thunderbolts kind of team for the MCU, since Thunderbolts has already been heavily teased behind the scenes. And this would likely include a multitude of characters introduced within Phase 4 and Phase 5, including people like US Agent and /or Taskmaster. A character that was featured in the original comic book storyline, yet not rumored as far as I've seen for the MCU, is Sentry, aka the Golden Guardian of the Marvel Universe. And in this installment of Marvel Annotated, we'll explore how Sentry could be introduced in the MCU. Now, the character of Sentry is the result of a super soldier attempt like many characters in the MCU, although the recreated serum was magnified to unfathomable levels of power. And one of the serums produced, known as the Golden Sentry Serum, provided the user with solar-based superhuman abilities, or at least that's what scientists thought. And over a decade later, after it was made, a meth addict named Robert Reynolds found the serum while trying to get high. And after drinking the serum, he gained superhuman abilities compared to having the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. Now, these abilities included at least superhuman strength, speed, durability, healing, flight, and energy projection. At such high levels, he was easily considered a top 3 most powerful hero whenever on Earth. Now, Robert had a desire to use his powers for the greater good, and through that became a superhero known as the Sentry. Now, with the Sentry, he worked with all types of heroes, Fantastic Four, Avengers, X-Men, and it's actually a really interesting dynamic they kind of showcase. He had a friendly and calming effect on the Hulk, as well as being a mentor-like figure for Spider-Man, and more or less, as it was portrayed in the comics, basically the best friend of Mr. Fantastic. Unfortunately, Robert carried his addiction from before he took the serum into his new life, and besides that as well, a darker persona kind of manifested itself with its own powers, seeking to more or less be a destructive and chaotic force called the Void. And to prevent untold levels of destruction, the Sentry had Doctor Strange and Reed Richards create a system to erase all memories of the Sentry, even from himself, because as long as the Sentry is active, the Void would be active as well. And this, while it did make Robert Reynolds forget about being the Sentry, kind of manifested itself in other ways. So for a while in the Marvel Universe, the Sentry was actually a comic book superhero, but later on it was revealed that was simply a side effect of everything that happened, and the memories and the adventures of the Sentry were basically transmitted to a comic book writer. Now, Robert battled the Void whenever he would come back as a Sentry as well, until in the more recent comics, he merged the personalities into a single entity that is neither a hero nor a villain, just basically kind of chaotically neutral, if you will. And due to the complex backstory and psychology of the character, I think a Disney Plus series would probably do the most justice, just because you're going to need a lot of screen time to properly explain concepts like Robert Reynolds' transformation to Sentry, but also as well explaining the whole Void and all that good stuff. A psychological thriller taking cues from a film like Shutter Island I think would be pretty ideal, as the plot twist with the Void would make a great mid-season twist. And the Sentry would also likely be a one-and-done project for Marvel Studios, just because the character is so powerful, but also at the same time, a part of his origin is the world forgetting him. So you could easily do the project as a mini-series, which may or may not help recruit A-list talent for the lead roles, since the commitment wouldn't be, too crazy. But basically just do a really great story, one and done. You can also expand on the whole super soldier mythology within the MCU that the Falcon and Winter Soldier already will be doing, supposedly. And you don't have to worry about it really kind of having to connect to other projects, which would be really nice. And while you can leave the door open for future appearances, You can just also focus at the same time on telling a story with a clear beginning, middle, and end instead of bending over backwards to connect it to some future event upcoming. But how would you explain the Sentry connecting with the MCU? Similar to his comic book origin, Sentry could be one of various Super Soldier program kind of results, if you want to call it that, alongside of adding in a little bit of the Tesseract. And the explanation for this could be based on the developments of Project Pegasus after viewing how Carol Danvers became empowered by the Tesseract. And if gamma radiation along with the Super Soldier Serum can produce the Hulk, imagine what would happen when the Super Soldier Serum is enhanced with Tesseract energy. The resulting character based on the MCU Hulk and Captain Marvel would be similar to the Sentry, at least the Sentry abilities he has in the comics. And from Bruce Banner's experience with his gamma radiation plus Super Soldier Serum, you already kind of established a foundation of him getting immense superhuman strength, healing, and durability, along with the personality split based on the transformation. And with Carol Danvers' experience from the Tesseract enhancing her body as well, you also can establish, building off of that, Robert Reynolds getting superhuman strength, reflexes, speed, and durability, alongside of energy absorption, projection, longevity, and flight. But overall, I think the Sentry fits well within the already explored and defined MCU as it pertains to the Super Soldier Serum and also Infinity Stone enhanced individuals. So within the MCU, there have rarely been superheroes showcased with the complexity of Sentry, which is why I think he'd be a really great character. Having a superhero with the power of a god who's literally his worst enemy would provide a refreshing psychological thriller for the MCU. And at the same time, Marvel could utilize Sentry as an endeavor into exploring mental illness within the superhero community, which we may or may not get with the upcoming Moon Knight. So if Dark Reign is incoming within the MCU, it would just be a really great surprise, I think, to have Sentry in the live action, just because he could join the Dark Avengers or Thunderbolts or whatever they're going to call themselves as their kind of powerhouse character going against the likes of Captain Marvel and Thor. But leave your comments down below. What do you guys think about this? How do you guys think if Sentry were to be introduced to the MCU, he would be, and do you want to see him? We'll catch you guys later, and thanks for watching the video.